back with Going Corn, week number 6 in the bag. Looking forward to week 7 here. And we are
You've
back
been in your
from...
bag?
Huh?
Is that what you said? You've been in your bag this season?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're back from regionals. And let me introduce the co-host, the Shaggy to my Scooby, Caleb Youngman.
What's up?
How we doing?
We're getting into the... I've been playing a lot of wiffle ball
The
lately.
dog days. This is really the dog days. You said it was the dog days in like the winter.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is...
There's a point in the season where it's like there's like the beginning where it all goes fast.
Yeah.
And then the end where it all slows down. And then the middle is just like a blur. I play like 35 games in less than a month.
Well,
and it's just...
Yeah, and how you played, what, 4 yesterday, 5?
Yeah, we had a 3-game series against the Godfathers.
3-game series and then the All-Star game.
And then the 1 game in the All-Star game.
And then Jared won the home run derby there. That's pretty easily from what I've heard.
Do better, horrible. Gosh.
Jared is built for the home run derby.
That's his swing.
He is.
I mean, no two ways about it. But yeah.
He's a good home run hitter, but at that minute and a half thing, that's always his jam.
Well, so the number he had to beat was 16, and after 40 seconds, he had 16. So we had
about 20,
50,
30 seconds left.
No, 50.
Oh my gosh.
We had 50 seconds to get one home run for him to, and it was just crazy. But that's not what we're here to do today.
No, but we are looking ahead. So another fun week in Leroy. This was a really good week. I think a lot of competitive balance kind of showed up.
Yeah.
A lot of we've mentioned it plenty of times, but the whole anyone can beat anyone kind of showed up. We had the Hawaiians win a 1-0 game against the Sluggers, in which the Sluggers only had one hit from Rob Warren.
I know.
That was one thing that really stood out to me right away.
They go from putting up a 16-run game against us to getting one hit. It's just...
And Eric having, a 3-home run inning in that game?
Yep.
I mean...
Yep.
So he was a little cold that week, but Bombers won 2 games.
Yep.
Narwhals, we won a game against the Clams. The Clams look like they're struggling a little bit right now.
I was 1 out away from losing 2.
That was a crazy game that on Wrigley, if you were able to catch that one if you're at the fields. But
it was a great game.
Yeah, we did our best. Commissioner wasn't there, took a week off, and did the best we could. I think we did pretty good.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Everything ran pretty smoothly, and we got everything done. So
yeah, it was...
Anything that stood out to you besides those things?
No, I mean, you covered a lot of it. It's just now we're going to start to see, I think these next 2 weeks, because, I mean, even last week was a little bit of still trying to figure out what teams are going to look like and what owners are trying to do. I think in the next, the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're really going to start to see that separation become more and more evident.
I think the playoff push will definitely determine a lot of teams. And so what we're going to be doing tonight here in a minute, to give you a little sampling, we're going to be doing our grades show here, our mid-season grades for all the teams and kind of where they stand and all that stuff. So that's what we're going to get into today a little bit. But, lots of good stuff going on in Leroy this year. So
absolutely.
And like I said, I think, though, we started to see more teams kind of mold into what they are.
Yeah.
There's still some teams looking for a fourth person to just come and play every week. We've had a lot of Kermits coming in and all that. So, I think it's starting to get to that point of we're starting to see, who's who and which teams are going to be competitive, which teams are not. But I think every team is competitive, though. I mean, mine included. I'm going to talk about my humble brag for a second, but I mean, we've been in every game since I've made those moves at the beginning of the season. And
right.
I think that's made a difference for us.
I think what's interesting to see, and right now owners have the ability to cover up a lot of deficiencies with the fact that you can play someone that doesn't have a salary 4 games before they start the year.
And a lot of those people are now starting to Kevin Vroog.
Yep.
Jeremiah's on 4 games, and Sitter's at 3. I mean.
So, the game we lost to the Bombers, we got outplayed. There's no two ways about it. But having Kevin there versus Jake Van Buren, that makes a big difference, especially
in the field.
Right. Yeah, even that, and at the plate and pitching. So, we're going to talk about this, interestingly enough, when we do our grades for each team, what their roster itself looks like, because we'll even get into this too. The Dusters, if they had to play their full roster every week.
Grimala.
Yeah, so.
Grimala.
So how this is going to work is we're going to go in ascending order. So we're going to go from bottom to top.
Of the rankings, yep.
Each one of these teams we will have a grade for as a whole, and we're going to give 3 individual grades that go into that total grade. So we're going to give a grade for the team's moves, what they've done throughout the year in moving and shaping their roster, their performance with that roster, and then what they look like going forward from a championship perspective, their chances for that if they have their team complete, and also what their team chemistry looks like. So those 3 grades factor into the overall grade for the team.
Yeah. So 3 different things, 1 grade, total thing. Are you ready?
Let's get it going.
Let's do it. All right. We're going to start, unfortunately, with my team in last place at 3-8, Noble Narwhals. Caleb, your thoughts first.
So my overall grade for the Narwhals is a D. From a moves perspective, I think that's the strongest thing you've done. Getting Jackson has immediately made you guys competitive. Jackson has been able to come in. He's playing at an MVP caliber level. He's right in the hunt for it. And also getting Mitchell Gerlach, if you can get him to play a little bit more consistently, you could have a very good 1-2 punch. Performance with that team, I gave you guys a D just because of the fact that you've been in a lot of those close games. I think you should have pulled a few more of those out, especially in some closer situations. But and then going forward, this one might be a little controversial over the year. I've got an F. You have to find a 4th. And that's what's going to be tough, is if you can't find an F, if you can't find a 4th.
An F.
Yeah. If you can't find a 4th, that could be tough for you guys. But if you can find a 4th and tie it alongside with you, you might have something. But with how many... And that's the tough thing right now, is that we're seeing, and this is the conversation, how many weeks in a row have we had about the salary cap? Mm-hmm. If the salary cap was $5 to $10 higher, you're in prime position.
Yeah.
But because it's as low as it is, you have to find someone that's $20 to $25, and all those players are scooped up. So overall, I have you guys as a D.
Yeah. I'd put myself at a C minus range, just because I will agree. A lot of my moves have been, especially at the beginning of the year, I've said it before on the show, but I think Rob was a bad trade for me. It was just kind of a harsh, quick decision. I was kind of putting too much emotion rather than just thinking about the whole year, like thinking through everything. I put myself in a bad spot because, from what I had seen the first couple years of me playing, I, assumed that I could have Jeremiah there, not be a problem if he was like late or whatever. But, that kind of hurt me. And I've told, a few people this. I think that 1 week where I didn't have anyone on my team come really set me back this season, because I would have had a much better position to go sign like a $30 player right now. But that's what it is, though. It's things happen. And moves, I would say right around C plus. Like I said, I've had a couple bad moves. I think Jackson has done a lot for me, just in helping anyone that stepped on that field. Like we had Alec 1 week, and we set the culture of just trying to win, and he's always positive, always brings good energy. So, but yeah, roster, you're right. I wouldn't say I'm an F. I think Mitchell and Jackson and myself have good chance to win, but yeah, it does bring it down. I'd say we're in D plus range there. D plus. With needing a fourth, that's fair. But going forward, I think we still will be competitive. It's just about finding that fourth player, maybe trying to get some more salary or something or get somebody to come out to play that's gonna
give yourself that chance.
Yeah, that has a little upside, like a Mike Feeney or something. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so we want to move on to the next one.
Sure.
So we've got a 3-way tie for 10th. So we're going to start talking about the upswing Bombers here.
Yep.
So overall, I would give them a C+.
Okay.
I think that their moves, I think they should be making more moves. That's what I think has hurt them is, I would give them a D for that because I think, if he was dropping Van Buren and Zuidema, he'd be in a better position. He could have probably gotten Kevin on his team and done something else, but as they've played right now, that would have to be an F. They're not playing, and Brett said on the show last week, he's not playing like he needs to, and Colin's not playing like he needs to.
Right.
And they showed this week that they could.
Right.
But that was with Kevin.
Right. On their team.
And not Van Buren.
Right.
So, and then going forward, I'd have to say they're in the D range too.
Right.
Because unless they can find, play better, everyone on that team just needs to play better.
Right.
So, thoughts
on the
Bombers.
So you gave a D, you gave a C minus, a C plus, a D, and then another D. So how are they C plus overall grade?
Good question. Good question. I don't know.
So is that what you're sticking to, or what are you?
More of a C minus range then, I'd say, right? That
if you have two D's and a C, that's either a D plus or a C minus.
I'm a easy grader. The PE teacher over
here. Here we go. All right, I'll give my takes on the Bombers. So moves, I have.
You're the strict one. I'm the.
I am. For the Bombers, moves, I have them at a C. They got Kyle Zuidema, which he's an okay 4. He'll do something special, but I think he could also really cost you. I think right now, the tough thing for Brett is who's he going to go get. He has the same problem as you. Mm-hmm. There's no real $20 to $25 players in this league that are serviceable and will show. So, and that
have some upswing too. That's the thing. You need somebody that's at that salary
that
but
has
also
value, right, and that can do something for you. I agree. Performance-wise, I'm going to give them a C. This is what's interesting is that the past few years, because of how dominant the Bombers have been on the mound, Brett and whoever he's played with haven't had to carry an offensive load or had to produce. And I think this is the first year where Brett has seen that he's not going to have that dominant pitching, and so someone on the team has to carry that offensive load. Now, Lautenbach has an electric bat, but can he consistently carry that offensive load? I don't know. He's shown flashes where he's been brilliant and then others where he hasn't hit like a top 5 batter that he needs to. So I think performance-wise, it hasn't been terrible for them, but if they want to win games, they have to carry an offensive load, and that they haven't done. So that's why they're a C. And then going forward, I have them at a C minus. The way this roster stands, Brett and Colin can be very, very good. But we lost to the Bombers 12-5, but Kevin versus Jake Van Buren is night and day. Now, I will give Brett credit. Jake can be lights out from the mound when he's on, but when he's off, Jake is a legitimate liability. And if you are patient with Kyle Zuidema and Kyle can't throw strikes, if both of them are off, that could legitimately be 16 runs.
Yeah. And that's kind of how I won that game against them. That's how some teams have done it.
Right. Exactly.
That combo.
So my overall grade for the Bombers is a C minus. So moving on to the third, this would be the 9th place team. We got the Backdoor Sliders. My overall grade for the Sliders is a C minus, same as the Bombers for different reasons though. Moves wise, I don't understand Moselle. Now, I would keep John Gibson even if he showed up for 6 games all season as your number 1. But Quinn and Brad, with all the stuff that they've had. Now, let's also put a disclaimer in here. He couldn't do much because he couldn't even get his team set up, and so he took a bunch of salary hits for that. But I include that in a moves perspective because as an owner, in order to make moves, you have to be in the position to do so. So Jordan's kind of shot himself in the foot. That's why he has a D for moves. Performance-wise, I've given him a C+ because for what he's had, I mean, if you would have told me that he was going to get John for 6 games and he would have 3 wins with a team of Brad and Quinn as your 3 and 4.
I think he's only played 4, and they're 3-1 in those games.
Okay, yeah, he's only played 4, and then you have Moselle hitting as awfully as he has this year. The fact that they're in the spot they're in, I think that's the bright spot, has been they've played better than what they should have been. And then going forward, with the way it stands, with John not being consistently able to come, Jordan not performing at the level he needs to, and having the big-ass wild cards. Now, Quinn's played better this year, but if Quinn and Brad at the back end, I give them going forward a C-. Sliders are C- overall for me. What do you got?
Okay, so I think that from a moves perspective, I think they were one of the teams that should have made moves more often earlier in the season. But I kind of see Moselle's perspective. He's kind of the same with me. We're both kind of in that middle salary range as an owner. He's like 30-something. But he took John, who's a big salary player. I took Jackson, after a couple weeks. And, then you have to kind of fill in. And now Brad and Quinn on his team, that's okay. And he's going to keep them because he just bought them jerseys with their names on them. I mean, that's the thing about Moselle. If you're drafted to his team, you are not going to get dropped because he is one of those players that is just not... he is not going to drop you. So for the moves, though, I would give it a D-. I think it's been bad. I think he should have picked up on some of these other people quickly and saved himself some of that salary so he could have been in a better position now to make moves. Play, I'd actually say it's been a C overall. I think they played pretty well with John. And even without him, they played pretty well. I mean, Quinn had a massive week last week. He's playing at, what did I say, like 34, 35 salary?
Yeah, 30.
So, I mean, if he can do that.
Let me look that up specifically.
If he can do that every week.
Quinn's at $32.
Yeah. So, I mean, if he plays like that for the salary he's at 22, at a $10 increase, that's what it's all about. You need that production from your 3, 4. So I'd say C, and then moving forward, I would say that now this is on the caveat that John is injury-free and comes. I would say that they're at a B- moving forward if they keep these guys.
Interesting.
But they're still $3 over salary, which is...
You're putting a lot of faith in the Fortnite champ.
Yeah, I know, right? So I think that would average out to about a D+, C- range.
Right in that area. Yeah.
Yeah, so next we're going to go on to the third team that's tied there. That's the Hawaiians, the Flying Hawaiians. Hashtag where in the world is Austin Warner still? New segment at the end of the show again. That's what I think has been the biggest thing that has held back his team.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
That's why they should be in a much better position.
Yep.
Now, moves, I gave them a B+.
Okay.
Because I think they've made a lot of good moves. I think getting Varlan and Tucker was a good idea. I think Tucker's a good player. He's one of those keystones. Keeping Sam on the team, a lot of people have been asking about him. He's been looking like he wanted to trade him. I know a few different owners were trying to get after him and thought they could make trades, but in the end, he kept him. So I think... the moves have been pretty good. He got Shane off his team, which was a good move because he was $40.
Right.
Would you rather have Tucker at 40, or would you rather have, Shane, who's going to be inconsistent pitching, And so I think the moves are B. For me, C- play. They've not done well for what they should be able to do. Right. I think Cameron and Tucker, if you look at the 3, Verlon, Sam Stahl, and Tucker, those 3 should be able to win some more games than 4 games.
I agree.
They should be at like 6 wins, I think.
I agree.
And because that pitching is good.
Yeah.
They almost no-hit the Sluggers.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's insane to me. So, they just haven't been playing well, and Sam still struggles to hit a little bit.
Yeah.
Strikes out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Moving forward, if Austin ever comes back to the motherland,
if he ever makes it back,
if he ever makes it back, I'd say they have a C going forward.
I agree.
So,
okay,
C+ overall.
C+ overall.
Yep.
Okay, so for me, C-. Moves, I've given them a B-. Austin's put together a roster that should be in the top half of the league if he's there. Varlan and Sam and Tucker are a viable 1, 2, 3. I mean, Austin's the 4th on that team. Performance with that team has to be a D. I was going to go lower, but I didn't want to go crazy. I mean, that team with Tucker, Varlan, and Sam Stahl. Now, that's a legitimate 1, 2, 3 right there. There's no way this team should be that record that is. So they have a D. Going forward, this might be a little controversial. I might hear about this one. Now, this one, I have 2 grades. Now, this is based on Austin being the owner he needs to be and showing up consistently, and this is based on Austin not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
If Austin does not do that, D+. I see a lot of the same. They need leadership. They need a consistent 1 through 4, and they have to get some flow. The thing with this team that when I played them, they had no flow. They had no chemistry. Well, they had chemistry. Like Tucker's a great glue guy, but and Jim does a fantastic job of keeping that team together. But without that consistent 4, you have no way of getting a flow for your lineup. You don't know where everyone's going to pitch or hit, and there's not a clear-cut 1, 2, 3 on that team.
Yeah,
and that's on your owner to set that. And Austin has to do that for his team. If Austin does do that for this team, going forward, I give them a B+. I think they're going to be a legitimate out come playoff time. So, Warner, PSA, buddy, you got a lot on your plate if you want to get this team back on, because I'm going to put a lot of it on you.
Yeah. So next, we want to talk about there's 2 more teams now. The next step is we'll talk about I think the Truckers next.
Okay.
So, how about your thoughts on the Truckers first?
Truckers. I've got the Truckers at a B-. Moves. Now, people think about the Truckers and think about Tim, some of the bad losses they have. Listen to their lineup right now. Ryan Vogus, Jack Hilligans, Brian Travis, and Tim Wilcher.
And Neil and Buzik on the Kermit roster.
Now, I don't know about you, but from a roster, if you're looking at paper, that sounds like a top 3 lineup. If Tim pitches well. So moves, Tim gets a B+. I mean, he's assembled something from nothing and made his roster very potent. Performance-wise, I give them a C+. Jack has not played to the level that he needs to as their number 1. And honestly, right now, if I'm Tim, I'm flirting with throwing B-Trav in that number 1 spot. He's got star power written all over him. He's got a ton of potential. Someone I think needs to trust him and allow him to grow into being an ace and being a number 1. And maybe that'll motivate Jack to need to play a little better. Because don't get me wrong, he hasn't been awful. But Jack last year was contending for
He was the number 1 overall pick. He needs to play better.
He needs to play better. He needs to be in the $45 to $55 range every single season. And he's not there right now. So, C+ for performance. And then going forward, I think the only place this team can go is up. Vogus is only going to get better. I think Jack has a great second half of the season, and he keeps getting better. And if Tim allows Travis the freedom to be able to take some swings, be able to mess around with some pitches, and deal with the growing pains, you could have a legitimate... By the end of the year, if Jack and Travis both come around, you could have a 1-2 punch that rivals Wes and Jared.
Yeah, it's good. That's why I think the Truckers are going to be one of my highest grades. Overall, I gave him A-.
Being 6th in the standings?
But if I'm talking about just what they've done, and so let me break it down.
Okay.
The moves, I'll give a pure A.
Okay.
He has made the moves when he needs to, and now the Brian Travis one was kind of out of necessity.
Yeah.
But that was a great move. I don't know why he didn't do it the first week, because it's his thing with keeping, Neal as the player. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, like, that he doesn't want to ever let go of Neal.
Right.
So, and no one can really touch him.
Right.
And no one's going to.
Right.
So he's still in a better spot on that Kermit.
Yep.
And Vogus, picking him up where he is, he's playing at a $26 salary. He had 3 home runs against us.
Right.
And his pitches, I'm telling you, he didn't pitch amazing. And that's why I'm going to go into play next. The play I would give C+, like you said.
Yeah.
I think they have not hit their potential. And I think this grade is higher for me because I just played them too.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at a series, even if Neal has to play, and Tim doesn't play himself in a series, Neal's a lot better pitching this year.
Yeah.
I mean, he was throwing strikes and he's throwing hard. And so I'd say C+ for the play, because they've lost a lot of close games, because I was trying to do a trade earlier with Tim and I was trying to convince him by looking at his games, and I was saying, I think you could use a little more offense here and there, and that's what Travis brings them now.
Right.
I think that's a big move for him. Going forward, like you said, I think is a B, because I think they're only going to go up. If Jack's going to get in that, he's like you at sometimes, I think. If he hits like a hot patch, he'll just get going.
Yeah.
And he'll, if he feels his pitch, that's how he'll pitch okay. But I think they can outslug a lot of teams with Brian. That's the thing. Brian's going to hit fast stuff.
Yeah.
He proved it again.
Yeah.
Like, I've faced him plenty of times, and he's been able to do it. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's why the grade is so high for me, because I think what they've done and going forward, I think they have one of the highest upsides of any team.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
As opposed to the next team now. Well, I'll start talking about the Clams. So the Clams, oh boy, they are on quite the downswing. They've lost 4 in a row.
Wow.
Matt's arm's still rough. I think he's now realized they just needs to slow down the velocity a little bit.
Yep.
He's still effective, but kind of shaky there. Moves. He's made a lot of moves. I think he kind of ended up in the same situation as me. Sitter and Jeremiah are kind of the same person when it comes to being able to, okay, are they going to come or are they not? And we lost salary because of it, because they, ultimately screwed us over on that one because of work. And it's not their fault. I'm saying it's not their fault, but from what they had to do, that's how that goes. He's made a lot of moves. I would say those moves, though, have not been working out.
Yeah.
I think I would have to give him a C- for moves.
Okay.
Just because he picked up Grant. That hasn't worked out.
Right.
Lucas was the number 2 overall pick.
Yeah.
And he's at a $20-some salary right now.
Yeah.
The play has been bad.
Yeah.
It started really good, and then it's kind of leveled out. I think, they're at a D+ for me in terms of play.
Yep.
They should be playing better.
I agree.
They were number 1 in the league for a reason.
Yep.
When you looked at that lineup, you said, man, that's going to be scary to face every week.
Yep.
Even with Austin and Matt, like Austin, I know we'll get that into the question bag, Tim's asking but I think he's been a good player, and he's shown at times. I think it's just the injury thing that's really set him back. So that, and then going forward, man, I don't know. I'd say they have I'd say a C, because if Lucas comes around, Matt can figure out his pitch at a different velocity.
Yeah.
He really needs Lucas to come around, and he just signed Kevin, so we'll see if Kevin and Austin will switch off. Austin's still on the Kermit roster.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't think he's going to get touched really from anyone. So
yeah.
So overall, I think that'd be about C-.
Okay.
That range.
So your overall grade for them is
C.
I have a C+ for the Clams. Moves, I have them actually at a B, kind of differing from you because...
And I could see how you would go that way.
Ashby really screwed him.
Oh, it's true.
And I knew the
I almost completely forgot about that.
Yeah, I know the intent that Matt had. Get her to show up. If you drop a few, you drop a few, but you find someone in free agency. And with the way the salary cap is set up right now, that's the way to build. That's how I did it. But not now that he's been able to figure out what he needs. I think his cap is so low. I mean, he's tried to make moves. He's gotten people on his roster to show up every week, but the performance is where it comes down for me. So he's gotten the right pieces in order to be under the cap, but going forward, he's a C- for performance. I mean, they just haven't played well. I mean, Sitter, when he shows up, Sitter hasn't been the same since 2015.
No,
I mean,
it's incredible to see because he was the number 2 pick last year, and
he just hasn't been the same.
Yeah.
And then, Lucas hasn't played at the level that he should have. So, and Matt evens down. I mean, in my opinion, Matt's a 40 to 48 player, and he's, let me check what's
I mean, he's been close to that range.
Matt's playing at
high 40s.
Matt's playing at $34 right now. And Lucas is at 27.
That's really a lot to do with his pitching. I know his arm, and the thing is, it's not for lack of trying. He's tried a lot of different stuff. He's gone to chiropractor. He's gone to
right.
So I think it's just about adjusting.
Yep.
Like in the MLB, you look at like Justin Verlander had to adjust. So I think that's what Matt's doing, and he will get there because he is a good player, and I think he just won't have that velocity on his stuff anymore.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I have them as a C- performance. Then going forward, I have them as a C- as well. I mean, and this is why I say this. Kevin was a great pickup for Matt. He's a 2. If Lucas and Kyle are going to play at this level all year, what's Matt going to do?
Yeah.
He needs a 3 because right now, as it was set up before, if Matt plays at the level he played at even last year or in 2015, Matt's okay. But Matt isn't producing like the stud 1 that he usually is. So he needs an auxiliary 2 and an auxiliary 3 to up that production from both the mound. And if Lucas is going to give up runs the way he has, I don't know what the Clams are going to do.
Yeah.
They'll be a playoff team. They'll be a tough out.
Yeah.
But being a contender that I think he wants to be, Matt's got to find a 3 if his arm's going to be shot. So
we're flipping the script, moving up the board, and looking at the Dusters now, right?
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Dusters. Is it my turn to go first?
No, I think it's mine, actually. Okay. So what's interesting, and I have to make this note, I had the Truckers as an overall B-, sitting at 7th in the chart. The 6th and the 5th teams, I have an overall lower ranking for than I do the Truckers. Just want to note that. But the Dusters I have overall actually as lower than the Truckers and Clams at a C. Moves has to be a D-. Has to be a D-. Like, Marty.
He has somebody.
No.
Yeah.
I'll put it this way. Marty.
I'll make my points in a minute.
As an owner, you have to get the most value for where players are at. And right now, Marty does not have all his players playing at their potential and what he needs for them to win. Also noted, he's got a player on there whose first name starts with Samantha and ends with Gramala. So, and if you do the math now for the Dusters, so let's say, just for argument's sake, Marty keeps himself, Al, and Jason. His cap right now is 112. Is that right? No. His cap is 123. If he has himself, Alex, and Jason, he has...
The replacement is what you're looking for there.
He's got $20 to go find somebody.
He's in the same spot as me. Like, there's
except
no
you
20s.
have a legit 2 and you have a legit 3.
Yeah.
Or a legit 4. You need to find a 3. But Marty has to do something. I mean, Jason's playing better than his average. Marty's actually playing $6 worse than what he was playing last year. From a Moose perspective, it's a D minus. Performance. Now with the teams that he's put together, it's an A minus. There's no way you can't put that because of what they've been able to do. I mean, I see what Marty's done from a roster perspective, and I want to put them as a D for performance, but somehow they're sitting in 5th place. I don't know how, but they are. So they've had a chance to win games. Well, I know why. It's free agents. But, I mean, he's gotten really lucky, but he's gotten an A minus for performance because they're winning. Going forward, I'm sorry, bud. I love you, but it's an F if you're going to keep this roster. I don't know how you're going to be able to find a legit team that's going to be able to pitch and hit on both sides of the ball and come consistently.
Yeah.
So overall, it's a C for the Dusters.
Yeah. I'm on the same page. I'd say moves is an F.
Okay.
I mean, you got somebody that's $10 worse than his salary of when you drafted him. And I'm talking about Friedman.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, you can't. I've come to realize this. You just can't have those kind of things on your roster.
Yeah.
Like, that's really what's killing him. Because if he just did that one move where he dropped somebody, he would have $30 in that slot to go sign somebody. I mean, that would give him a lot better wiggle room.
Yep.
Or, I mean, Al's at 32, right? I think on his roster.
Yep, and he's playing at
a 20,
23.28.
Yeah, so he's almost $10 difference. But
and with $10 cap, if he wanted to, he could go sign someone that's $43.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just there's so many options for him, but he's kind of like Jordan right now. He's sticking with that too. He told Al he was gonna, and like he's sticking with him, and that's okay. I mean,
here's even the crazier thing. If he signed someone that was, let's just say $25 for Al, you add an extra $7. He could go sign someone that's 27. He could get a 27 and a 25.
Yeah.
If he dropped Al. And I'm not saying he should drop Al. Al had a great hitting week last week.
Yeah.
He had 8 RBI in a game.
And he gave up 8 runs, so plus or minus 0 differential on the day.
You just have to decide as an owner, and you have to be able to make a decision.
Yep. So I'm kind of on the same there with you. Play has been A minus, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Marty, it's crazy to me that he's gone down in salary somehow because of the way. I mean, there's just been a couple of games where I think he's been a little off pitching, but for the most part, he is the reason why they're in this spot.
I agree.
Marty is the whole reason.
Yep.
And he's just like putting the team on his back and just kind of like in your spot, like just putting the team on his back. Okay, all right, here we go.
Yep.
I'm going to go hit. I need 3 home runs this game. Sure. I need 5. Okay, good.
Right.
He is doing what he needs to do. Going forward, I'd say it's a C. So we have a wide range here of things. Yeah. I'd say C because you don't know what you're going to get. You still got Gramala. I mean, me and him are in the same situation with that. I relate to a lot of owners in different spots because of the 4 right now,
Yep.
And that's, so I would say that averages out to be about a C overall, right?
Yep, that's what I had as
F,
well.
A minus, and C, so it's right in there in the middle.
Yep.
All right, next would be the
Sluggers.
4
more teams to go.
Sluggers.
Actually, for me, I would say the Sluggers are the easiest to diagnose because I think they're one of the only teams that they did exactly what we thought they would do.
Yep.
From the jump. Moves is a B+. I mean, the trade that he got for Rob Warren was bad on your part, but good for him. I mean, he got his 4th. He's got all 4 players that he needs. They've played well. So moves, he has a B+. Performance, they've done exactly what they've needed to do to be, 6-4?
Yeah.
Maybe they could be 7-3, be a spot higher. I don't know. I think they're right where they need to be, though, at a B+. Going forward, I have a B+ as well. Now, here's why I don't have them as an A-. A lot of the reason why they've won some close games and beat some good teams is because of Eric's production.
Mm-hmm.
Eric is producing at his salary's $49 right now.
Yeah.
Always been a great pitcher. Has not had the power
He's
numbers.
not been in that stratosphere before.
No, which gives me one way or another two greater.
Mm-hmm.
If Eric continues to produce going forward, this is a team I see in a championship game. If they can play at the level they need to. If Eric's going to produce like that.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I've always said this in Leroy, the MVP race is not won in one half of a season. Who can do it consistently for 20 games?
Yeah.
We've seen Eric have one half of a season where he's played at an MVP level. And this is where I love to challenge him because me and him have that relationship and connection. Eric, can you do it for 20? You come back after you have that big week and you go 0 for 5. So it ain't about necessarily, what are you going to do 1 week to 1 week? Can you do it for 20? Now, it's 1 week, it's 5 at-bats, don't freak out. But that just goes to show you that the best players that can carry teams do it for 20 games and can do it an entire season. So if Eric does it, I think that they're a championship contender without a shadow of a doubt. And if he doesn't, then that may be their weak fall because you need your number one to make big plays. So that's my take.
Yeah.
B+ for the Sluggers.
Sluggers aren't really, like you said, aren't really hard to kind of match moves. B+. They haven't made any, but they made the one. They fleeced me. That's okay. It happens. Somebody makes a dumb trade. That's okay. I think it just set them up because then they wouldn't be in my situation where you have Wiz and you have this empty spot and you're kind of... He would have been in a better position, though, because he had more salary, so he could still sign somebody, but I think he's content with that. So, play, I would say C+, B-. Just because I think they should be better. I think they should be...
Well, they didn't have Luke Prince for 6 games.
I know, but that's what I'm saying, though, is like the play has not been where from my expectation of them, B-. Maybe that's being a little harsh there, but yeah.
But anyway, that's what this is for.
Yes.
Hot takes.
I mean, that's the thing. I think they could be a 2-loss team.
I agree. I think so, too.
I think they could be number one.
They could be.
And it just comes down to getting one hit by the Hawaiians.
Right.
Where your only hit was Rob Warren.
Right.
Which is, sometimes those games happen, but, I mean, that's the thing. They're going to contend. They're going to be up there.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have them as high early in the season.
Okay.
But, yeah, they're there now. And the Sluggers going forward, B+.
Okay.
So, overall, another B.
Okay.
So, and we're moving on to the Badgers. Speaking of B's, Badgers are 7-4, right?
Yes.
And I'd say moves B for them. Because getting Shane was a good batting move, and he's kind of banking on him being able to, produce and find that pitching that he's had before and stay more consistent. And Barnes been on and off the team about 12 times this season.
Yeah.
But I think he's kind of stuck there now.
I think Sheriff has a choice.
Yeah, I don't think he's given up on him anymore. Play, I would say A. Wes has been out of his mind.
Dominant.
He has shown why it was kind of a mistake for people to pass on him. And the 1 and 2 there is very good.
Best in the league.
Yeah. Going forward, I would say, again, they're at B. The question marks with Barnes and Shane kind of make them a little bit lower for me rather than being an A-. But I think they are one of the teams to beat. I think they can consistently go ahead and go for it. Even no matter what their record ends up being, I think they're probably going to be contending for that championship game, being that semifinal, if not final game.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
For me, A- overall.
Overall?
Yeah.
I have them as A- as well, interestingly enough.
We did not look at each other's sheets this time.
Moves, I have them A-. Jared's done a good job. He's put together a solid 4, 1 through 4. Shane, Barnes are a little iffy, but they're a lot better than a lot of people's situations. We'll just say that. Performance, I have them as a B. I really do think that they are top to bottom the deepest team in the league. I think they should be better than what they are. Yeah. I'll attribute that a little bit to Sheriff's pitching. I think he needs to be pitching better, especially if he's going to slate himself 1 or even 2.
He's blown a couple saves. I think that's
hurt him definitely. But overall, I mean, they're where they need to be. They're in striking distance to get a top seed in the playoffs. And going forward, this is the only team I have with this grade. I give them an A going forward. They have a 1 through 4. They have the best 1-2 in the league. And you know what you're going to face with the Badgers. You're going to have to score runs off Shane and Ryan because they'll produce. So I have the Badgers as an A-.
Yeah. All right. So the next team is going to be the Sultans of Soy. Caleb, your thoughts on the Sultans?
B+. Moves, B-. And Tim made a funny point in the owner's chat, and this could be it. The Sultans right now, the Sultans may not be able to field the team. It's going to be below cap.
Yeah.
When it comes playoff time. And that's just facts. I mean, Robbie's got to be able, if he wants to field the team that's below cap, he's going to have to play Kyle Schaff and play Micah Hescott, which is going to be difficult for them to be able to win games with that lineup. So B- for Robbie. He hasn't really done a ton, but he sits in that position. Performance is an A. I mean, they've played well. Robbie has definitely picked up the slack, and John Enningenberg has been a pleasant addition for that team. He's finally coming consistently and playing, sitting at about $38, which is.
Did you say John Gibson?
John Enningenberg.
Okay, I think you had said that. Okay.
Yeah, John Enningenberg is at about $38. He's playing really well as Robbie's 2. I'd say maybe second or third in the 1-2 category, 1-2 conversation. So performance, they've been playing really well. They've been in an A. And then going forward, if Robbie and John play the way they do, they could be a good team. But I really do think Robbie needs to make a move potentially for Kyle. Will he? Will he not? I don't know. I have them as a B+, B going forward. You know what you're going to get from them. They're beatable. There's nothing that really they can do potentially to be better going forward, but that's where I have them as a B+. So overall, Sultans B+.
Yeah. Again, and people are going to be like, "Oh, he's just agreeing with him, and this is boring." But at the top teams, you can't really have a whole lot of. I'd say moves are a B-, a little bit lower, because of they did get Lucas off their team. I think that was a good move for them to get Schaff and try and find that kind of upside player. I think Schaff, he needed to just get him off his Lucas off his team because of the salary thing again, and it worked out for both teams, and that was a good trade. But otherwise it's like Micah Hescott's still on the team, and he's just losing salary every week, and it doesn't. I think he at one point said, "I'm just going to see what happens." So, but it's moves have to be a little bit lower. Play is A- for me. Okay. They've had some chinks, but otherwise very good. Same with kind of the Badgers and Dusters. I also gave A's, A range too. Mm-hmm. They're playing very well for what they are. Going ahead, I have B+.
Okay.
So that would be about a B+ overall as well. So, and the last team, do we have to? All right, and we're going to move on to the question bag.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, the Liners. We had to talk about them at some point. For me, the moves have to be. I don't know what else to give them besides A-, A. The only thing is, Caleb, you haven't made many moves. But the thing was, the draft was good. You understood what needed to be done.
Yeah.
And you put yourself in a good position by getting salary. And that's why you're able to get somebody like Alec Gerlach. Like, you started off who was the other? It was Gramala, and then it was just Jason and now Alec, right? So you've only made 2 moves all season.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's a credit there. I mean, getting Alec on the team. Yep. In terms of move, I would have to look at it as getting your guys there every week and showing up and not having any questions and understanding the rules and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Play has to be, I'd say, B+.
Okay.
Just inconsistencies with Justin and James. I'd say A-, but you're in that range.
Yeah.
You're like right at the 89, 90% there.
Yeah.
Going forward, I'd have to say A because this team's overall just looks good. I mean, it's the same story with you, which I hate, but I guess it's true. It's just you are you. You're going to help. Deckinga and Hayworth are both playing at salaries like Deckinga is playing double his salary.
Yeah.
And Hayworth is playing $8 or something like that, $6 or $8 above his salary, and Alex just good. And I'd say moving forward, you're gonna be a hard team to beat, but like I said, every team's beatable. But A overall, you're a number 1 team, so I'll give you that good grade. So,
thank you. I give my team an A. Moves just from a perspective that I didn't have to make many. I give myself an A. I got a team that was going to show up every week, and I wasn't going to penalize myself. I mean, that was talk about things you can control as an owner. Having a team that will show up, communicating with your team, and trying to instill things in them that make them want to come. So if you want to be a good owner and get your team to show, very simple. Performance, I'm actually going to give myself an A here, just from the sheer fact that that Justin and James are both playing at the level that they are. I mean, and I admitted this in the podcast after the draft, and when I was talking to Tim and other people, I didn't know what I was going to get from Deckinga. That was the thing. I was nervous, and everyone kind of scrutinized me for not taking Grant, even though I had Deckinga. And Deckinga's come through huge. I mean, sure, he has the ability to give up a ton of runs, but for him to be playing,
when you're talking about a 4, though,
I don't know if there's a better, from a ranking perspective, better 4 in the league. Might be. Yeah, right there. Yeah. Going forward, I would also give myself an A. I have my team. I'm not going to make any moves. And if we pitch the ball and play defense, we're pretty good. So
all right. So we've been talking for a while. We're going to take a quick break and then get to some questions and then be done with this show. All right. See you on the other side. And we're back after that break. Talked for a while, so we're going to try and make this quick. We are going to the question bag. Tim Wilcher has decided to go full savage today in the questions. So we'll start with number 1 because he says he expects all questions to be answered on the show. Number 1, why the hell is Alex Friedman still on the Dusters? We touched on this.
Good question. That's all I'm going to say.
If you've listened to the show this far, I think you know our opinions on that. So,
all right.
Number 2. Oh, no. How should Grant feel after burying the truckers and now burying the clams?
I think his response in the Leroy players chat.
He's considering retiring.
Don't retire.
Don't retire, Grant. Just
try.
Try harder, man. You need to. For me, I'm serious about this. I'm out 3 times a week pitching, and Caleb knows this. He's seen it. I'm out, and we're hitting at Caleb's place a lot. Like, how many times do we have batting practice over? Even when it was like freaking like 20 degrees outside, we were doing batting practice.
Yep.
I mean, if you want to be a better player, you have to put in work. It's just anything.
Big facts.
You know, like I'm trying my best to do something. You know, I came up with a new pitch that I think hopefully is going to work, but like we'll see.
Question 3, because you would skip this.
Okay.
Why did the Narwhals refuse to sign Kyle Reinhart when they have space and instead keep Wiz, who I haven't seen in 5 years?
Well,
funny, because Mr. Gearling was planning on doing that, and then Matt Dykstra scooped him.
Yeah.
LOL. Good move, Crafty. Good move.
Yeah. So
why? So Robbie wants to know, why does Tim give me so many penalties?
And then Tim says, why do I give Robbie and Jordan so many penalties?
Because their teams don't show up.
Yes, true.
And then they say a team will show up, and they change their lineup.
Yeah. And there might have been some controversy on the mic if you go back and listen to the broadcast.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Anyway.
Oh, no. Stirring that.
Why?
How many people need to be in the booth?
2, I think.
Oh, it's 2.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 people need to be in the booth.
2 people need to be in the booth.
At the entire time,
yes,
right?
It's $1 for each inning that there's not 2 people there.
So for sure that 2 people every week have to be in the booth.
Yes.
Good. I just wanted to
clarify that.
Just wanted to see if, and that has to happen every week, right? You don't get like a week off.
No. The commissioner can take a week off, but he still puts 2 people in the booth for.
Interesting.
Number 5, why does this league milk Austin Gibson when he hasn't played for more than 6 games in 1 year? Oh, he is a good player.
It's the potential.
Yeah.
But we've never really seen it.
John has come more than his brother, and I think that's, and as we saw later in the owner's chat, I think that's.
Will John Gibson ever play again? Jordan, I hope for your sake, yes. Because if he doesn't, could be rough. When will Jordan realize that he literally bought Gibson a jersey he will never wear in an actual game? Another good question from Tim, and worthy to be noted. How did the Hawaiians almost no-hit the Sluggers with Clark and Chris in the lineup? This is a question I don't have an answer to.
This is just an enigma. This is, I don't
Eric,
know.
Don't ask me.
Ask Eric, ask Garrett, ask Luke Prince.
Gosh.
Rob Warren was the only one that got a hit.
I don't know. Maybe some controversy in Sluggers came.
But as I talked about in the grading, though, that the pitching is good there. But Chris and, I don't know how that.
There's no way that they did not throw at least 5 or 6 slow pitches.
But they had Tucker, Sam, and Varlan. So only Chris played.
That's
and he
true.
didn't give up any runs. But he obviously didn't give up much else either.
Right.
All right. How does Warner feel that the 2 super fans that played for him and don't enjoy playing are actually better than he is at wiffle ball? Oh, that's. I don't know how Austin's going to come back and play.
That's going to be a storyline.
He's been a month off. Like, where is this guy? Why is Tim in a savage mood? That's a good question from Crafty. Probably a strep throat. Does anyone know? Oh, never mind. We're skipping that one.
What question was that?
No, we're skipping number 8.
What was number 8?
Something about drugs and such.
Drugs?
Okay. Number 9.
Oh.
Will the Sultans be a 1 seed and have to forfeit the playoffs to the winner of the death bracket because they cannot field a team under cap?
It's a possibility.
That's a high possibility, honestly.
It's a really high possibility.
Unless they're trying to have Micah come for that 1 game.
And then the last question that we're going to see in this chat and that we're going to answer, we're not cornholing Sheriff. We also are not doing a stream of consciousness with him on any type of podcast in Leroy. So just stop. Let's end this madness. Stop fueling that fire. I've had enough.
Oh, boy. The brother feud continues. But no, there was another question. Why did Hayworth jump over the fence and slap the ball back into play?
Because he wouldn't have been able to catch it.
Instead of just catch it.
He wouldn't have been able to catch it. And I don't think he knew the rule either that you can dive over it and catch it and it still be an out.
Yeah.
So he was just playing it safe. So for my little plug to end, just got this sent to me by Tim. We've got updates on the category races for MVP, Mr. Leroy, Iron Man, Most Improved. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quick rattle off the top 5 for each. So For Mr. Leroy, your top 5 is Caleb, Jackson, Marty, Eric, and Matt. For Iron Man, Matt, Caleb, Marty, Kyle Schaff, and Sharif. MVP, Caleb Jackson, John Gibson. Well, Caleb Jackson, John doesn't qualify. Eric, Wes, and Robbie for MVP. Batter would be Jackson, Eric, Wes, Colin, and Caleb. Pitcher would be Caleb, Jackson, Eric, Wes, and Brett. And then Rookie of the Year, Jackson is leading that with Wes in a close second, John, Kyle, and then Tuck. And then for Most Improved, Justin Deckinga, John Enningenberg, Robert Warren, James Hayworth, and Wes Ellis. So there are your updates on your MVP and other award-winning categories. And I think that's it. We've been talking for a long time.
Yeah, we tried to make this short here, keep it about an hour here. So, some updates. Caleb and I, as soon as this podcast is done, are going to be putting out some stuff for our Leroy tournament.
So if you about the same time that this comes out and you're listening to it, you'll probably be getting some info about our tournament.
Yes, hopefully that is the goal. The 27th will be our social of July. Now, this July 27th will be the social. That will be when we're going to do the draft and all that stuff and set up the teams and get to meet people from other leagues. It should be a great time. And then Saturday will be the tournament all day. So, so that's going to do it for us. We will see you next time.
Yep.
On Going Corn.
See ya.